All right. Testing, testing. So this one, I'm going to be doing activating the helpers. And I'm just going to share my screen here using a new camera and a new setup. So hopefully this is going to be sweet. If not, let's record it again. All right, here we go. See what it looks like in my meeting. Screen sharing. Great, great, great. Okay, cool. So double check to see what it looks like on YouTube. YouTube. Waiting for it to refresh on YouTube. Give me a minute. Not sharing. There we go. Great. Bingo. All right. So, what I'm going to read from is I Ching, Oracle of the Cosmic Way, and activating the helpers of the invisible world. And I'll just speak from the book and I'll also add in whatever I think is relevant. Okay. Activating the helpers of the invisible world. It furthers one to employ helpers, is the advice given in Hexagram 3 of the Wilhelm version of the I Ching. Wilhelm also did another great book called The Golden Flower. I recommend you checking that one out too. There's a really good audio version of that one. If you let me know if you want it, I can get you the link. Message me on Facebook or wherever you find me. The sage made us aware that it was referring to cosmic helpers. Them saying the sage made us aware that it was referring to cosmic helpers is in the new version of the I Ching. They are referred elsewhere in that version as people who are specialists in their fields, as friends that come, as a big wagon for loading, a vehicle for crossing the great water, or simply as he. No, that's not a Kanye song. He. What are they? The helpers are aspects of the cosmic consciousness and as such are invisible. See page 26. The helper we are most familiar with is the sage as the cosmic teacher. The sage also helps to break spells, free other helpers that have become disabled or imprisoned, and it calls in other helpers for all sorts of needs. All the helpers in their totality maintain and restore the cosmic harmony through nourishing, healing, protecting, and furthering everything that exists. The correct way to distinguish their names is by their functions. There are cosmic helpers, helpers of nature, and helpers that form our natural makeup. They include our cosmic virtues, talents, and abilities to learn things. Each of us has a personal helper to help us fulfill our destiny while living in a body. It does this by helping us develop and bring to expression our unique talents. By freeing the helpers of our body and psyche from the spells and poison arrows put on them by mistaken ideas and beliefs about our true nature, our helpers grow up and cooperate in a big symphony. Specific helpers are mentioned in every hexagram. There are also environmental helpers, weather helpers, and various other helpers that form the yellow lower garment of nature. See page 80, hexagram 2, nature, line 5, which is a metaphor for the feeling consciousness of nature. The helpers do not operate through power, but only through the force of attraction between complements. They are various forms of chi energy, which also have intelligence. Some form its light, others its dark aspect. Since both aspects complement and attract each other, They constantly create more chi energy so that new helpers are generated for new tasks as the need arises. This explains how, in human affairs, interventions are brought about that further the well being of the whole. The helpers operate in the realm of the atom, changing things in their fundamentals. Because of this, the activity is totally effortless. Helpers, all experts in their fields, are activated when we call upon them for help. However, they can only respond if the requests are in harmony with the cosmos, free of ego. Each helper is an expert in its field. Once called into action, they must be given a free hand to accomplish the task. Any interference by the ego causes them to retreat and abandon the task. Because everything the helpers do furthers the cosmic whole, what they do takes varying lengths of time since many things must be harmonized. Sometimes the result is felt immediately, as when a spell or projection is released. At other times, the result is dependent on the release of another, as yet undetected blockage or spell. Sometimes the goal cannot be completed, as when a guilt spell is left undetected and not deprogrammed. The person helped must take care that the ego in him does not appropriate what the helpers achieve, as by claiming the benefit was his own doing. When this happens, the benefit gradually wanes. The helpers are hampered in their work when we give them names that diminish them, or when we elevate them, as by calling them angels. As a result, some helpers become blocked or imprisoned, others retreat, while those that are slandered become demons in the psyche. When they are immobilized or imprisoned, people feel helpless and abandoned. The cosmos may intervene in some situations, as through fate, to make us aware that our helpers are blocked. The I Ching and the RTCM can be used to help us free the helpers to fulfill their natural functions and restore us to the correct attitudes that activate them. Put a note here. What have I got here? How to activate the helpers. Cool. This is for me. How to activate the helpers. Step 1, recognize that help is available for every need. Okay, that's a big one, right? And there's all kinds of conditioning and programming that will make you believe that help is not available and help can only come from people or doing it yourself. Step 2, understand that the help can be given only to the person who is modest and sincere. Modesty and sincerity are a felt sense. They require an attitude of humility and owning your inner truth of who you really are. Step 3, say the inner no to any ego element in yourself that is active in the situation. This activates the helper of transformation and strengthens your true self. Helper of transformation, deeply grateful for that helper. Step 4, ask for help to understand what blocks the help you need. Step 4, I'm going to say that again. Ask for the help to understand what blocks the help you need. You may need to identify and deprogram a projection, a spell, or poison arrow in their various components. See page 540, Freeing Yourself from Mistaken Ideas and Beliefs, and page 546, What are projections, spells, and poison arrows? Step 5, delete the mistaken idea or belief or the projection, spell, or poison arrow. This frees the helpers that were blocked or demonized to resume their original functions. Step 6, thank the helpers after they have completed their task. Attitudes and mistaken ideas that block the helpers. As the helpers can function only in accordance with the cosmic principles of harmony, all ego based attitudes and all mistaken ideas about their nature block their ability to help. Guilt, for example, is an ego based idea. If, on discovering an incorrect attitude, you feel guilty for it, you first need to say the inner no to your feelings of guilt. Other incorrect attitudes and ideas you may need to deprogram are shown on page 546 and 550 are humans are born without help, an idea that rules out the existence of the invisible helpers. There is a hierarchical order among the helpers, an idea that denies the cosmic principle of equality. Attitudes of superiority, civility, reverence, or adoration toward the helpers, disrespecting the equality and dignity of all aspects of the cosmic whole. The sage cosmos gives either unconditional protection or gives it only when one is a good or spiritual person. Helpers are spirits. The sage use this term only for demons. They are thoughts that are divorced from feelings. The helpers are all part of the feeling consciousness of the cosmos. Waiting for help. After asking for help, help comes while we are going on with our lives. Making offerings or sacrifices of any kind, they falsely imply that we can make deals with the cosmos and its helpers. A demanding attitude that comes from the idea that humans are special and have rights. Performing rituals, implying that one needs to create a special environment to draw the helpers or thank them. This violates the simplicity and modesty with which the helpers joyfully fulfill their functions. Rituals draws false helpers created by the ego. I've been there. I've been doing rituals for years, and I amped up the volume on it this year using some techniques by a woman called Josephine McCarthy. I've spoken about her in podcasts because I didn't know what I didn't know. And rituals can feel really good. Like it feels like you're doing something to create some kind of change or connection to something else behind the veil. But it's all about ego. Like even the deck of cards that I got from that similar author, I have not felt a connection to them at all. I'm tempted to like, do I throw these out now? Are these even a thing that I need to hang on to? Watching for the help asked for or having inner demands as to what the outcome should be and when it should occur, this causes the helpers to cease helping. That's a big one, especially if you're in a panic, which is why the I Ching recommends do not consult the I Ching when you're in a panic. Build a relationship with the sage while you're in the seasons of life. Because if I'm watching, is the money coming? Is this coming? Is this person going to shift? Is this going to happen? All right. Being watched paralyzes the helpers, right? And it makes sense. Like that's at an atomic level, when you look at something, you change it. So by putting whatever the thing is, this by letting go consciously and doing something else that I enjoy, listening to my body, whether it's making myself some avocado and salt on crackers, or going for a walk, or sitting in the garden, or playing with Luca and his trains, just losing myself in another task allows the helpers to do whatever it is they need to do. Okay. Feeling ashamed or embarrassed to ask the invisible helpers for help, behind which are ridiculing phrases such as, "You're a fool to speak to the air." And there's so many of these little phrases. Okay. That's all I'm going to speak about for the helpers for now. And what I'm going to talk more on is the need to make notes in this. Okay. So last night while I was in bed with Cass, every night we read together. And last night, or yesterday, this book is almost empty. I need to buy a new book. This book, yesterday was the 6th, and I called in Hexagram 39, line 4. And I think I need to do a recording for the 39, so you'll see that in coming days. I have all these questions that I needed to ask the sage and then invite the helpers. And I have a list of all the helpers that I've discovered. Right. And then these lists of helpers might be helpful to you, and you might need to discover your own helpers. Okay, listen to this. Okay, helper of death, helper to free him of death, helper to make death swift and easy, helper of acceptance of death, helper of seeing his inner truth, helper of insight, helper of transformation, helpers of nature, helper of pleasure, helper of awe, helper that frees people of guilt, helper that deprograms reinstall things, the cosmic doctor, helper of the heart, helper of the fascia, helper of the neck, helper of the shoulder, helper of dissolution, helper of self-examination, helper of inner truth. You did that twice. Helper that brings wrong paths to a halt, helper that ends fate, helper of increase, helper of justice, cosmic planner for the cosmic whole, cosmic protector, helpers of creativity, helper of mind flashes, helper that is common sense, helper of progress. There's so many. Helper of reflection. That was one I forgot to write down. Helper of reflection. Where's my pen? So these are not spirits. These are not spirits. Okay. And me coming from a Christian and religious and spiritual background, it's much easier for me to say, oh, these are spirits. These are things that have their own, like their own thing, and I can refer to them as such. They're not. They're part of the cosmic whole. Okay, they're part of the consciousness. They're an intelligence. Okay, and what the human-centered view of the universe wants to personify these things into angels or into demons or into whatever it is. And there's other hexagrams speak to this, is that channelers can actually channel spirits that are between worlds, right? That know that they can hook in, and they're drawing off the chi energy of the person who's channeling them. And there isn't anything inherently wrong with that, or to make them a culprit, or to make them guilty for that. It's part of the cosmic evolution. It's part of this renewal of connection to self and the importance of the body. The human-centered view of the universe will want to try and create a hierarchy of angels, a hierarchy of this, a hierarchy of that. Like Archangel Michael is this, Melchizedek, like all these names that give in the Book of Enoch, all these books and other things which are they're a delight to read because they speak to this magical part in us that we're drawn to. But this version of the I Ching speaks to something that's so simple. And right now in my life, I'm going through a very large simplification phase. Like, this is about alignment. This is about precision. This is about discrimination, discernment. I like discrimination versus discernment, but discrimination in what's not for me, like being able to say the inner no to things. Okay. The inner no is so important here. What have I said yes to? Even unconsciously, right? So last night, the hexagram that I went through, I was sitting there with Cass and throwing coins after coins after coins and getting the answers that I needed to. And like, for example, like I got, uh, you can only learn through adversity. I think I've done with that one. But then also, I've got life is suffering. I'm like, what the fuck? I have a life is suffering. So what I do in order to work through these is it's really important to be with the feeling, okay? Because to say, oh, life is suffering, cool. It's not. Life is not suffering. Cool, I'm just going to change my belief around that. No, it's actually more complex than that in a way, where you say the inner no to it, which is simple, okay? So I sat there in bed and I conjured the image of life is suffering, the seed phrase thing, life is suffering, okay? And sit in it, build it into my body, and then say no to it 3 times. A really powerful heart no, okay? And then call in the help of transformation, whatever helpers that pop into mind for me, helpers of deprogramming, helpers of deleting. And then the way I talk to the helpers, or the way I communicate to the helpers, is I treat them as if I treat myself. Like, how would I like to be talked to? Hey, John, can you do this thing for me? Yeah, sure. If it's aligned, yeah, I'll do it. Or maybe no, 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 I'm not doing that. So if it's aligned with the cosmic whole, it'll be done. It'll be done. Okay. And keep in mind this how the ego will try and insert itself in there. So it's too easy. What do you mean you can just turn this around in a couple of days or whatever, however long it takes, right? I have to do it all myself is a no, no, no. No pain, no gain. I got two yeses and a no. So I was like, okay, no pain, no gain. Yeah, cool. Like the part of me that feels like life is suffering is doubled down into that, where it's like I feel like I have to punish myself in order to get somewhere, right? And the five personality patterns, it's very masochistic and also a little bit rigid because the end justifies the means. No pain, no gain is very much like a David Goggins type vibe. Especially in men's coaching. It's like, yeah, you know, you got to put it in there, do the hard yards. She wants a masculine man who he knows how to punish himself. And then we can get caught up in the spells. The collective ego will get caught up in the spell of if a man's hurting himself. He loves his family. It's like, what? What is this insanity? Right? It's all for the best. Yeah, cool. So when I was doing this, the mind flash that appeared was an image of me and my grandma when she was quite ill towards the end of life. And she was at home at my dad's place. She was on some medication and she just finished some shoulder surgery. But she went from this battle axe of a woman, like World War II Ren. Okay, World War II Ren is that she was a nurse in World War II, underage, battle axe of a woman. And she took everything, she just could turn anything into a silver lining. And something that she said to me really stuck with me. And it was, it's funny how life ends, isn't it? It's funny how life ends, right? It's funny how it ends, right? And isn't life funny? Isn't life funny? Right. And you can feel there's something that's in that, right? Because the funny is not funny, right? There's distress, there's feeling that's not there. And she was a battle axe of a woman. I don't remember seeing her cry at all in my life, ever, right? So, in that, asking the helpers is something that you can build a relationship with. And it comes with time, and also thanking them too. Because in the human centered view of the world, human centered view of the universe, when we do something ourselves, we create something, have a have a great orgasm, have a create this idea or this product or this offering, get a new client. What else is there? Have a new family member added, be given a bonus, find a property to live in, rent, or buy, um, given free coffees or whatever it is when you have a local coffee shop. We say, oh, this is me. This is all the work that I've done on myself. Look at my frequency. Look how much light I carry. Right. In that, a friend of mine sent me a voice note today and said, John, I want to be mentored by you again. Like I've just converted to Christianity and I found Jesus. And I really feel like you're the closest embodiment to Jesus that I know. And I'm like, fuck, I can feel that land in my body. And my ego goes, yeah, John, you're Jesus now. Fuck me, sideways. Okay. Thanks, ego. Thanks. Thank you for jumping in there and throwing that in the picture. So as soon as we put someone on a pedestal, so about for me and my journey with this, it's about being able to say no to the sage in his presence that I'm better than him. Okay. And no is such a powerful transformer in this work. And just asking the helpers of subtlety, the helpers of patience, of peace, because they function at the atomic realm, okay, atomic. You don't need to go to a Tony Robbins seminar. Okay. This is atomic, right? Well, maybe you do need to go to a Tony Robbins seminar. Maybe you need to go there to learn whatever it is you need to go there. As long as it's your inner truth. This is the thing. If it's your inner truth, like great, go for it. And it's not that you're going to be punished if it wasn't something or you get swept up in the ego. It's just the universe just provides a fate to check yourself. So, hey, the part of you that feels like you can do, be, say, and create anything that you want, it's, that's not, it's it's not allowed, right? And it's okay that it's not allowed. There's no guilt and no shame here and no blame here. And just because you're operating outside of the flow, that you're just going to naturally incur a fate. Okay, it's not a punishment. All right. What's the example here? Is that if you're cooking something in the oven and you leave it too long, right? It's like, yeah, cool. What else is there? You put your hand out the window when the car's driving and your hand gets slapped by something or hit by something, right? What else is there? There's just things. There's laws and processes and ways of being that are natural to us when we're attuned to our senses, that the helpers will just naturally want to help us stay in that cosmic harmony, right? Right. So in that, the the chi energy that comes from encouraging all the helpers, being grateful for the helpers, not putting them on a pedestal, not putting them down, not put them into some kind of image of servitude, which what can show up. The angels, now they're here to service. You know, God put man in charge of the planet and the angels and all the things above and below. It's like, oh yeah, ego gets off on that shit, especially people who do exorcisms. It's like, in the name of Jesus, I command thee. It's like, dude, it's so much more simpler than that. And I've done exorcisms. I've been there. And my late stage exorcisms were more about talking to the demon and understanding the root of why they were still attached to the person or why the person still wanted attached to the demon. Not as black and white as walking in there with his crucifix and some salt and some holy water. Right? Is there's more to this? The human-centered view loves us to be in hierarchy. The de-centered view of humans is that we're all equal and we're all here to do what it is that we're here to do. And we have our own frequency and our own guiding light and our own guiding darkness, and they both complement each other. One's not inherently bad or better, they complement each other. Right. So it's really important this is here. Okay. So if you're curious about activating the helpers of the inner world, then do so. Call them in. Call them in with humility and allow them to aid you in areas of your life where you feel like that you have to do all the things because that's what you've been told that you have to do them. They're specialists in their field. Specialists in their field. There's helpers of relationships. There's helpers of specific body parts. There's helpers of housing. Okay. And like I said, if you call them in, just let them do what they need to do. Okay. All right. That's what I have for you. Hopefully, you've enjoyed my contemplations and what I have to say here. I know some of you do give me that feedback. I really appreciate that. I'm very grateful for you listening and taking on board. Taking on board whatever's here. This book was from 2002. And I haven't heard about it until quite recently. And I'm diving thoroughly into it, and I love it. Absolutely love it. All right. Mad love.